Yeah. Okay. I had a good first attempt trying to figure out where I was at, but I ended up giving up, guys, because I was going nowhere. But anyway, guys, I got the shirt back. I love this shirt. The only thing I don't like is like right here where the armpit is. You can't. Oh wait, wrong one. See, this is what I don't like. I get messed up by the webcam. You get the general point. It's like caps on this side right near my armpit, as is Iron Man. You can barely see this shirt, but I like it. Anyway, I'm not here to talk about my shirt, guys. I talked about the female subject in a previous video. Talked about the Teen Titans article and how, hopefully, I talked about how superheroines should be nothing more than eye candy. And I still feel that way, guys, and I don't feel like right or wrong feminists or feministic comic book fans or writers should be treated with disrespect. And granted, that's the pot calling the kettle black because I am very opinionated. I do tend to put a lot of people down, and I'm not afraid to admit that. It's part of the reason I started trying to attempt to get my son into the habit of taking St. John's wort, um, which basically I'm taking the herbal equivalent of antidepressants. Although the funny part is, it's not necessarily for depression. It's just to keep me in a positive mood. You know, I need to be in a positive mood. I need to be a little more balanced. Although sadly, I waited too late to take the actual dosage, so I had to take like half of it. I had to take, but whatever. I'm not here to talk about my personal life and what medication I take and what herbal supplements and what kind of tea I drink. I'm here to talk about and I'm a little late in talking about this, but I feel that I wanted to structure this just right. I want to talk about David Goyer's statements on a podcast last month or so that he made about how She-Hulk is nothing more than a green superpowered porn star that the Hulk can have intercourse with, and that comic fans are nothing more than virgins because they know who Martian Manhunter is, and that he'd be way too silly, and that a stereotypical movie plot of, oh, he existed in Area 51 and he's the embryo of like an offspring is the way to go for his character. And see, that statement right there, Mr. Goyer explains exactly why Warner Brothers and DC need to sever ties, or at the very least get somebody better than you to write. Hell, I write fan fiction, and I can write better than you. All the experience that you had writing Smallville was absolute crap. I could have wrote Smallville a little bit better. Maybe not as great with snappy dialogue, but it would have been a little bit better. It would have been a true Superman origin show. But I'm not here to direct my anger at David Goyer, rather his statements. Because Goyer doesn't deserve the time of day. Just like Avi Arad, he does not deserve any of his fame, and he doesn't even deserve any attention. But I'm going to get to Avi Arad next, because there was a statement also 2 months back that Avi made that I've been meaning to actually talk about as well. But let me get to Goyer, since that's the most recent. Yeah, Goyer making the statement that, oh, She-Hulk is just part of the male power fantasy. That right there actually made me laugh. She's nothing but a green-powered porn star. Okay, I'll admit, Jen Walters has been sexualized quite a bit in the Marvel Comics. Lord knows she's like the village bicycle. She's slept with just about every character but Wolverine. And pretty much she's nothing more than a hoe, apparently, in the Marvel Universe, which I laugh at because there is a little bit of truth to it, but at the same time, She-Hulk is a very empowering character, and not just to women, but she is pretty much the imaginative, if you will, of what if Bruce had all the powers of the Hulk, but he could control his transformations. Jen Walters is basically the female hypothetical equivalent of that. And also, let's not forget, Jen Walters isn't just a superpowered lawyer, but she's a superhero in her own right. This woman has been an Avenger. This woman was Ben Grimm's replacement when he lost his Thing powers. It's like Jen has accomplished quite a bit in her comic book career. And yet the sad part is, she never gets really the respect that she deserves. And I think I know the reason for that is because usually she's drawn anatomically correct, or that writers just write her as being a hoe bag, or they write her as not being the intelligent, sophisticated, independent woman that according to a lot of feminists that she is. And I can agree with most of the feminists on that, because you look at Jen Walters, if you're a hot-blooded male, okay, there's obvious reasons to like her. I like her for those reasons. But I like Jen simply because she is a superheroine, and she does raise the question of, okay, if she can do it, maybe Bruce can do this. And I love the explanation. Well, Jen can control her transformations a little bit better because her psyche isn't as fractured as Bruce's. I can agree with that. You know, there's a lot of reasons to like Jen Walters, but I did find it a little disgusting that Goyer just writes her off as a silly, like green-powered porn star because no man can basically screw her. Yes, Goyer, because She-Hulk's sex life is really the most important aspect of her character. It's not the fact that she has all the same abilities as her cousin. It's not the fact that she's kind of deadlier than her cousin, and the fact that she can use her Hulk powers and mix that with self-defense or basic martial arts. Nah, it's none of the cool superhero aspects. Nope, it's just appearance. And also the fact that she's just a ditzy lawyer. That's sad. That's very, very sad. And this man is in charge of DC's movies. And then let's move on, shall we, to Martian Manhunter. Now Goyer started this off with how many people know who Martian Manhunter is. A lot of people raise their hands. He goes, how many are virgins? Not really a smart idea, Goyer. See, you're enforcing the stereotype that, oh, well, because somebody like me knows a lot of comic book characters, automatically I'm considered inadequate for the mating rituals of whatever. You get the point. See, I'm actually falling asleep from droning on. This is what's happening. I'm droning off here, guys, because Goyer's stupidity is boring me so much that I'm about to fall asleep in this chair, trying to actually make sense and talk about it. That's how bad this is. But then again, what do you expect from a guy who wrote nearly almost the entire series of Smallville with ho-hum origins for Clark, and that this is also the same guy that somehow miraculously must have done somebody a couple of favors to get in the position that he is now. The sad part is that Goyer has the potential to be a great writer, but the problem is all his years of experience don't add up to crap. because his attitude and personality as a person are so innately, and pardon my French, are such shit, that it's amazing that this man, much like Rob Liefeld, can find any work at all. And I'd rather take Opie from the Andy Griffith Show, aka Rob Liefeld, over David Goyer. Because while he may anatomically draw Captain America to have breasts, at least Liefeld takes some little bit of pride in the characters. Not Goyer. And plus, I gotta laugh at this. Okay, they're called superhero movies. You market them to comic book fans and to moviegoers. Your main target audience should be children, to like teens that are into that kind of stuff. But the sad part is David Goyer made the statement, and I'm going to narc on Goyer for this. I'm going to burn him to the ground on this one. Oh, well, you should listen to comic book fans because, no matter how hard you try, they're not going to be satisfied. They're just a bunch of big whiny crybabies. Oh, really, Goyer? Because I want my comic book movie to be as close, or at least keep the spirit of the character. I'm a crybaby. Yeah, good luck with that, Goyer. Here's an idea. Stick to Fringe or all these other crap shows that actually go into this freaky deaky crap that you've been wanting to try to inject into comic book movies. Because, see, this is what bothers me. They put people in charge of stuff that they really shouldn't be in charge of. Okay, even though I don't like Jeff Loeb, I can take him being part of maybe Marvel's cartoon front. And I'll tell you why I play devil's advocate on that. Because Loeb has actually written comics. He has actually tried to do stuff with the characters. It may be crap, but at least he's putting forth an effort. I don't see Goyer putting much effort into it. He's not feeling the characters. Do you understand? Let me repeat that for dramatic effect. He's not feeling the characters. I'm sure right now Chris is probably going to be laughing his butt off at that. Now, why not? Do it 3 times the charm. Feelings. But no, I find that to be a very ignorant statement. We shouldn't listen to comic book fans. Need I remind you, Goyer, that comic book fans are what make up the majority of the audience for these comic book movies. And okay, who cares about the people that are going, oh, this is just silly, this is cartoony. I say to those people, don't go to the movie then. There's a reason it's called a comic book movie, and there's a reason comic books are meant to be fantasy. Now, having said that, I will also say in the same breath that, okay, some realism should be inserted, just for the sake of argument. Like, okay, you want to explain why the X-Men are the way that they are. You want to explain their world. And sometimes you got to take a few shortcuts, but try to get the main meat of why the characters are like that. And that's just me throwing out an example in terms of storytelling for a movie to an audience that has never read comics, never really knew the universe, doesn't know the characters and wants to quickly get attached to them. So you got to find a dividing line to where, okay, here's this side, the audience that doesn't know the characters. How can we make this fun for them, make it fun for their kids, and yet make this character seem cool to where they might go out and buy the toys, or they'll want that character in a video game, versus us, the comic book crowd, who are sitting there going, well, okay, this may not be exactly what I want, it may not be the characters in the exact costumes, but hopefully there will be a variation, or at least they'll keep the spirit of the character in there. That's all I want. Oh, excuse me. Sorry about that. That's all I want as a comic book fan, is I just want the essence of the character in there. Now, Thor not having a helmet in the Thor movies, does it bother me? Kind of a little bit, considering that Thor could get brain damaged. But at the same time, am I angry about? Am I gonna, nerd rage about it? No, I'm not gonna nerd rage about it, because they kept the essence of what makes Thor Thor. Now I'm throwing out key examples here, guys, not just because, but I'm throwing these examples out here because I'm giving you the idea of, okay, a template for where these movies should go. You should blend the fantastical with the believable and somewhere meet in the middle. And that's what I like about the Marvel Cinematic Universe movies, is the fact that they do that. Sometimes they don't always do it well, but they at least do it. And I've talked to people who have watched more of the cinematic movies than they have really the Fox movies. That says something. And even the Sony Spider-Man movies. But Goyer talking about how Martian Manhunter should have a stereotypical bland, uninspired origin, just like any other alien character, to me, it's a very poor excuse, and it's a very less thought, and it's a very lazy excuse. Writing J'onn J'onzz coming from Mars to Earth is not really improbable, it's not impossible. It's quite doable. Do green screen, use flashbacks. These are not really hard concepts to do. Have like one singular flashback explaining, hey, this guy's a green Martian. He's the last of the green Martians on Mars. There was this great war. His family got killed. Tell it from Jean's perspective in quick cuts. There you go. Okay, the audience knows. This guy is not a human being. He's an alien. But he's an alien who lost everything. Right there, the character is relatable. And having him shapeshift and shoot, laser beams out of his eyes, similar to Superman having all these vast psychic abilities, super strength and all that, it's not that hard. It's just like somebody said, I saw an article, and I had to laugh at it because it's very true, and it needs to be done for a lot of comic book movies. Embrace the silly. That's what filmmakers should be doing. They should be embracing the silly. Ant-Man. Oh, well, all he does is talk to ants and shrink. Okay, it's silly, but embrace it and make it cool. That's the problem. A lot of studios and whatnot are scared to go out on a limb because if they think that if they fail, then, well, nobody's going to care about anything else. Let me tell you why Green Lantern failed. Let me tell you this dirty little secret from Warner Brothers. When Green Lantern was in production, they had Geoff Johns writing the script. Okay? You following me thus far? Somewhere in the middle towards post-production, Johns' script was thrown out. Simply because, it would have cost the studio too much money. Because the majority of it was set in space. Let me repeat that to anybody who's a Green Lantern fan. The majority of what Geoff Johns wrote was Hal being in space. He wasn't on Earth the majority of the movie. He was in space. Where Green Lantern should be. Maybe a little bit of stuff on Earth. But instead, what do? They threw Geoff Johns' script out, created their own script, and it was to sell a Hot Wheels set, make Hector Hammond look like a pedo, and I feel bad for him, even though he probably got a good, decent paycheck. Clancy Brown doing Fartalax, as I call that character now, because essentially they wanted to copy Fantastic Four and having a giant fart cloud be the main antagonist. It's rather sad that because of Green Lantern and the stigma now that carries that movie, that now all of a sudden there may not be other not other Marvel, but other DC characters, that will be getting, their own movie. But hey, I look at it this way. CW keeps up with what they've been doing with Arrow and The Flash. They might be able to turn it around. Maybe. We'll see. I'm not going to hold my breath, but we'll see. Excuse me. But moving on from Goyer's statements to Avi Arad. Oh yeah, let's talk about this, Dookie storm, shall we? So, a month or two back, there was an article, and it piqued my interest because the name said, "I really created the Marvel Cinematic Universe." And when I heard that, the first person I thought of, and I thought, please don't tell me it's not who I think it is. Sure enough, Avi Arad apparently claims that Kevin Feige is not giving him credit for creating the cinematic universe. And I look at that and I go, Avi, first off, you didn't do shit. I'm going to just blatantly and uncensoredly put it like that. You didn't do shit. Okay? You did not do a damn thing to make the Marvel Cinematic Universe. See, what you did is you held the Marvel Cinematic Universe back from its potential. And it's no wonder it got held back because Avi Arad, no offense to the guy, but he needs to take more classes on English. You can barely understand him in interviews, frickin' mumbling. That's what he does. If you listen to it, I swear, go and check out an interview with Avi Arad. He frickin' mumbles so badly that even the character of Mumbles from Dick Tracy would look at him like, what are you talking about? It's literally the way Avi Arad speaks. His English isn't bad. Even though he's got the accent, it's not bad. He just mumbles. And it makes me wonder if all that mumbling is what caused Daredevil to suck and whatnot. Although then again, people put that on, Affleck too. I don't know. I'm all over the place with that. But I just found it to be a very ignorant and belligerent statement. Avi Arad saying, I really created the Marvel Cinematic Universe. It's like, no, you didn't, Avi. No. You helped produce those movies. You didn't bring them together. Kevin Feige's doing twice the work that you did back in the day. No, you just produced them. Oh, well, I was the one going out and getting toys made, and it's like, Avi, stop lying. Just stop lying. Okay? I don't like people that work in the industry, film, comic book, or otherwise, who lie through their frickin' teeth about how much work they allegedly put in. Okay? Rob Liefeld, once again, making another Liefeld reference. Liefeld does more work than you do, and his art is crap. His art is crap, but he does more work than you ever did on the movies. And some of you are saying, well, okay, Steve, you're kind of fanboying and raging out a little bit, because when I hear statements from people like Goyer or people like Avi Arad who make these very belligerently stupid mistakes, like they think that they're somebody, and the real harsh truth is that they're nobodies, it does kind of irritate me. And it also doubly irritates me because how are these people finding jobs? Not because of their experience, but because of their stupidity. How are they able to find jobs within the industry and I can't? I may have an attitude problem, I may hate authority, but I guarantee you if I was given an internship at Marvel, I would do everything in my power to both still be myself, but yet not piss Joe Quesada off to the point that I would be sent back with no money or no experience. Yeah, that's right. I said it. I actually would work with Quesada. I've actually become a little more soft-hearted towards Joe Quesada, which may shock a lot of you, but I still don't forgive him for One More Day and stuff like that, but personally, I kind of am starting to cut back a little bit on him. I don't make the fat jokes nearly as much as I used to. I still professionally cannot condone what he did to Spider-Man. But that's beside the point. And there's also this whole, rape is funny in comics and women in the industry should be, brought down and, hunted and crucified and, burned at the stake like the Salem witch trials. And this is what's also getting on my nerves with the comic industry. And I think I talked about this once before, but I'll talk about it just for the sake of giggles. The idea that in the industry it's acceptable to bring women down because of their gender and because, they wouldn't be able to write male characters as good as female characters. And even the female characters wouldn't be written right by them. Okay, why would a female superhero be written bad by a female writer? That's like saying that you should add olive oil, to pancake mix rather than milk. And I know that's a bad analogy, but think about that. You'd have some pretty oily, bad-tasting pancakes. And also, it doesn't make sense, does it? Which is exactly what that statement meant to me. It did not make any frickin' sense. A female character would probably be badly written by a female writer. What? And females can't write male characters correctly. Females can't write male characters, you say? Well, I believe a certain Gail Simone and her Secret Six books would have to disagree with you on that. Because I've read Secret Six and I frickin' loved it. It actually made me give a crap about Catman. And plus, it actually made Bane a G again. But I find it funny that the stigma from years and years is still there. Oh, well, females writing female characters just, isn't good for business. I'm like, why is this reminding me of the WWE storyline with Daniel Bryan? Where Triple H and Stephanie are doing all in their power to basically strip him of the WWE World Heavyweight Championship. And I realize some of you aren't wrestling fans, but I'm throwing that out there just because I find it funny. It's that mentality, that, you're too big, you're too small, you're too short, you're too fat. You're too Asian, you're too Latin, you're too autistic. It's just all these lame excuses. It's like, nobody craps on Gail Simone per se. But people give Kelly Sue DeConnick crap, and it's like I posted on Twitter, and it was funny to me. One guy was like, Kelly Sue DeConnick puts way too much frickin' feministic crap in her Carol Danvers books. And I looked at him and I go, well, then you must have got bootlegs. And the sad part is, of course, Twitter, because that whole 150 characters rule, I couldn't put what I wanted to as the punchline. It's like, oh, you must have got a bootleg. Because what I read was pure awesomeness. Or what I read was a book full of kick-ass and awesomeness. Something along those lines. It's funny that the comic book industry is reverting back to its Neanderthalic period, where, oh, it's a boys' club, it'll always be a boys' club, and let's let the women write their Barbie dolls and their Barbie's dream house and stuff. And I'm sitting here right now, I'm starting to get a headache just trying to figure out how that much stupid can be compact in one single industry, and how, once again, now my new hate toy, quote unquote, is going to be Goyer. Because how can you sit there and ask people if they're a bunch of virgins, joking or not, just because they know who Martian Manhunter is? You know, people like Goyer truly make me glad that I actually do fan writing. You know, that truly, it's baffling. It's truly baffling that this is the industry where these guys are professional and they get paid to run their mouths, but people like me who run their mouths and actually make a decent point half the time aren't paid, but are still scrutinized. Sad indeed. But such is the life of a nerd. And I'm going to hit the stop record button here, guys, because I kind of wore myself out a little bit, so I'm going to need a minute or two to recover. That, and I need to quickly assemble the rest of dinner, for dinner tonight. So take a short break, and I'm actually going to be back, guys, because other than this random tangent video, I figure since I didn't get any writing done today, I'd make up for it by doing, these videos. Or at least like 2 or 3. Just to feel like I accomplished something today. Sad but true. But I'm going to hit the stop record button. Hopefully this 30-minute plus video, hopefully you enjoyed my ramblings. But tell me what you guys think. Do you believe that guys like Goyer really honestly deserve their title or job in the industry? And do you actually believe that female writers honestly have a place in the workforce? Because I certainly do. And I'm not just reaching out to the male subscribers. If I have any female subscribers, especially female subscribers who are comic book fans or are even into other, fandoms and pieces of literature, tell me what you think too, as, a woman or a young lady, like how this actually affects or offends you. But I'm gonna bail out now, guys, so I'm going to run to the kitchen, and I'll see you guys possibly back in a couple of minutes, maybe an hour. Depends on if I get back fast enough.